This may be a couple weeks late, but this is my review of The Batman 2022. Matt Reeves' The Batman is a unique departure from the formulaic superhero genre of the modern day. While I enjoy the MCU for what it has created a formula that every superhero film has been trying to recreate ever since. This is most evident in the building of the DC Cinematic Universe, which has tried and failed to create one single solid universe. With that being said, Batman does his best work by not being connected to an overarching universe. Batman at his core is a character that's supposed to represent the human among gods in the DC universe. This is typically done by portraying Gotham as off-limits to other heroes, and this film does it expertly. Gotham is gritty, and inspiration seems to have come from some of the more influential pieces of Batman media from the past 40 years. From Tim Burton's Batman, to Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series, and finally Rocksteady's Arkham series, this Gotham feels fleshed out and full. It isn't some backdrop for superheroes to fight supervillains in. This is something that a number of superhero films seem to fail to realize. The city the hero is in has to be a living, breathing entity. The Batman serves as a great detective movie. It was never meant to be a superhero film, and they don't pretend that it is. In fact, Robert Pattinson had even claimed that his take on Batman wasn't a hero. This actually factors into the overall theme of the movie. It isn't enough to just stop criminals, you have to solve the root of the problem. And in this way, Gotham needs both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Robert Pattinson portrays a very unique Bruce Wayne that hasn't been seen in other Batman films. I can easily believe that this Bruce Wayne decided the best course of action after losing his parents was to train in martial arts and become a vigilante. Opposite Robert Pattinson is Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle. Selina Kyle is seductive and efficient. At the risk of making a horrible pun, Selina plays with Batman like a cat with a string. The antagonists shine and function as both obstacles and reflections of Batman and Selina. Opposite Batman is Paul Dano's Riddler, and opposite Catwoman is Colin Farrell's Oswald Cobblepot, otherwise known as the Penguin. Both Paul Dano and Colin Farrell put out interesting takes on the characters that are a gamble but manages to pay off in the end. A critique to be had about the acting is that these actors overact in some of the more dramatic scenes. It reminds me of the idea of a singer assuming that louder equals more emotion. Stepping away from the casting, the cinematography of the film is stunning. It captures a modern noir feeling that balances the line between keeping the audience in the literal dark and showing that even in their darkness, there is light. This is further underscored by the film's soundtrack, which includes Nirvana's Something in the Way, whose chorus deals with the idea of finding the good in a bad situation. If there's a major flaw that I have with the film, it's that at 3 hours runtime, it was half an hour too long. The film drags by the end of the second act and continues to do so until halfway through the final act. They manage to stick the landing at the end, but it's vastly diminished by the lackluster back half of Act 2. Personally speaking, Selina's plot should have been wrapped up by halfway through Act 2, but they extend it a bit too far. Overall, The Batman is a new look at a classic franchise. The film is dramatic and serious, but also has its share of lighthearted moments. It was wonderfully casted, and the art direction brought new life to Gotham. Due to, and despite, the extra length and moments of overacting, I would give The Batman 4 out of 5 stars.